just wanted to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today, Dr. Green. How are you?
No problem. I'm good. How are you?
Good. You are one busy man. Explain the different dynamics, because I know you work in the urgent care, but then you have your own practice with the EMS. Tell us about the two different things you have going on.
So originally when I got to the Fresno area, it was mostly for urgent care.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did a extra training once I kind of finished medical school. I did extra training to become a sports medicine doctor. And I kind of got into urgent care in that process of doing the training. So when I got here, I just kind of focused on urgent care. And then after opening several urgent cares, the premium urgent cares are the ones I opened, I decided to go back to the roots and start the sports medicine office.
And how, because at urgent care, all I ever hear about is just how busy, how constant, you're just overwhelmed. How did you have time to do that?
Well, a lot of help. I got a great team, you know. I got good people kind of behind me, and you can't do everything, you know. I have to see patients. I have to really you know, focus on patient care mostly, and then I have people that helps me with the day-to-day management and things like that. They're great people, and I can't do it without them.
So was it a passion? How are you? You're in urgent care, that's your thing, and then you're like, no, I'm going to be in sports medicine. I want to help people with that. Mm-hmm. What made you decide that?
So being a doctor was always something I wanted to do. One of the biggest things that kind of triggered me to become a sports medicine doctor was in my early days of, you know, high school football and things like that. I played high school football. I wasn't very good at it, but one of my best friends from high school, he was a very good athlete. He actually helped me get a scholarship as well as him to college, just because I, you know, always had the book smart, so I would tutor him and things like that. And
so he was better at the sports, you were better at the brains,
books,
and somehow you guys all got to like, okay,
exactly. So cool. And then he got injured, and in the process of him getting injured, we kind of lost the scholarships and things like that. So he kind of went on to just not really being able to do sports anymore. And one of the things that kind of intrigued me about that was the fact that, because that was his only option in terms of getting a better life for himself, and I didn't know exactly what was wrong with him when it was going on, and I just always wondered if it was the doctors that triggered some of the problems he had, because he got injured in his 11th grade year, and then he continued to play football his entire 12th grade year.
Okay.
And then the summer after we graduated, he was like, I can't go to college because I'm too hurt. So for me, I always wondered, man, why did he even play, and what kind of missteps did the doctors or the coaches during that time?
What pressure?
Yeah, and that's always intrigued me, because I feel like where we came from and how we grew up, there's only a few ways out, you know, and that was his way out, and I feel like it kind of got taken away from him. And I always wanted to kind of help in that capacity, find these athletes, find these students who maybe sports is the only way to get ahead, get a college education and things like that. And they get hurt, and then they're not getting the proper care. So that's where the passion comes from for it, because
I love that story. That's really cool.
So that's how I got the passion for it. That's why I wanted to continue to do sports medicine and continue to help the community, help these kids figure out their injuries and get them in better positions to get college educations and maybe go to the NFL or the NBA or whatever.
That is so impressive. So it's going well. Where did you come up with EMS training? I hadn't heard of it actually until I was asked to do the commercial, and I love it. I'm really sold on it. It's
right.
It's really hard. There's so many dynamics to it. There's part of it that's just, well, the cryotherapy to me is torture. That's like, you know, that is some crazy torture. Yeah. But I love doing things that challenge me. So even though that part was torturous, I love the whole process. So explain the process to someone who doesn't know anything about it.
So the idea with the EMS training is I kind of developed it for athletes
And where did you hear about it?
It's always been around in the European areas and things like that. Now, it's always been around, but it hadn't been available in the States for a very long time.
Only like 5 years or so, right?
5 years, and then it just got FDA approved actually in the last like year or two.
So this is really new, and this is something really big for the Central Valley. That's just brand new. Is anybody else doing it besides you?
I don't think so. No. Not as of yet. And the idea with it is you strap the suit on. It kind of contracts your muscles, and it gives you the muscle twitch that most people need to work out, right? And the idea is you get the workout without actually stressing the joints. So in the beginning, that was kind of the idea. It's this workout where you can work the muscles out without actually putting a lot of stress on the joints by pushing heavy weights and things like that. And I wanted to kind of be an extra workout for like a sports player who does his own workouts. He's doing all these things to stress his joints, but you get this one workout where you get this maximal effort put on the muscles without the maximal damage that can be attributed to the type of workouts that they usually do. And what that does is, if you look at the data on it, and of course I'm a doctor, so I'm going to talk about the data, right? So the data on it shows that you get about a 10% to 15% increase in muscle mass and strength within a 10-week period of using this device. So that was the whole draw for me, was to give something to the athletes. Again,
but you're not getting anywhere else.
Exactly. So you have these athletes that's right on the cusp of maybe being an elite athlete, right? But they need a little bit more muscle gain. They need a little bit more strength. And I wanted to have something that I can offer them to get them a little bit stronger.
Isn't it amazing? That's not a drug, a pill, or a diet. This is so awesome that you could do something to naturally increase.
Exactly. It's a natural, it's electrical potential, and that's something your body does anyway. And we just enhance it. We force your body to do the things that it already does from the brain without using the brain. So we're actually working muscles that you can't physically work. We're actually
I feel like I had to use my brain a lot to like all that coordination, which was great. It was like a lot of coordination.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure I'm great at coordination. I've never played contact sports really. It was always like, the other. So that I thought that was really cool. I thought I felt like I was working everything at once, my mind, my body, and
exactly. The VR, I kind of added that in because the original the original workout wasn't as fun. People didn't like it as much because it's static poses. You try to fight against it, but when we added the boxing workout, you're not thinking about what's happening to the body, right? And it's a fun workout.
We all need that. We need to get tricked to be doing anything.
Exactly.
I get that.
It kind of tricks your body into just doing a regular fun workout where you're just getting cardio, but actually it's almost like sitting in the gym for 2.5 hours, pounding the weights, lifting.
You were saying that's all the exercise you need in the week, really? Like if somebody came and didn't do exercise at all, that's crazy. So you're burning that many calories.
Right. And that's the idea. So with the workout, the combination of the VR with the cardio and the EMS training, you're doing about at least 800 calories. And then one of the biggest components to it, and one of the issues why we added the cryotherapy to it, was because people would do the workout and be sore for like 2 weeks, right? So by doing the cryotherapy, that recovers the muscles. So it takes the soreness away that you usually get from doing such an intense workout. But using the cryotherapy, it also has to burn calories for you not to essentially freeze. So it keeps you in homeostasis. So you burn about another extra like 500 to 600 calories by doing the cryotherapy.
That's what I always hear, but I rather do that exercise a million times over than cryo. So I've done this twice with you now. So the first time I did it with the cryo, it's I think we have video of me screaming at some point with it. And then the next week I did it without, and I was all like afraid. I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna be sore the next day. I spent 3 hours in a hot tub that night. I usually don't have time or accessibility to do that. And the next day was not sore at all.
Yeah.
So I kind of tried to do my own recovery because I didn't have that. Yeah. So I tried to do that, and then I drank ginger shots, beach, a lot of the stuff that I know is supposed to get in there.
So that's a way to do it as well.
So it did work. So people don't have to be worried if they just want to do the exercise and not. There's a lot of other ways to recover.
Exactly.
So that's really cool that there's a lot of options.
Yeah. I just like the cryotherapy with it because for athletes, you don't want to be so sore the way you can't do your usual workouts, right? Or you can use this workout as a burnout. So you do your regular workout and then you come and exhaust every muscle group on the machine, and now you're getting crazy gains. You know, you're getting stronger, you're getting faster. The injuries that you would usually get from muscle fatigue, that kind of goes away. So you get
I know there are a lot of benefits of cryo. I don't know, and I love just all of it. I mean, you said you had an in-house version of the VR of
I have a wireless version.
So what's the difference? I mean, how does that?
Nothing. The suit with the it's just an advancement in the technology. The idea with the wireless one is I wanted to start attempting to have people do their usual sport workout. Like if you're running drills, right? So you're running your football drills or your soccer drills. We strap you in the suit and then you run drills while the suit's working, instead of doing the cardio in a static spot. So it's just a way to advance the training and get that same kind of muscle mass effect that the suit creates.
So what are some of the things that you've heard from it? Are there any athletes that I would know or that are big in town that have been using it, and tell us some of the experiences with that?
In town, you know, there's a couple guys that, because I'm a doctor, I can't say who's using it, right? So yeah, but there's a couple guys in town, some of the high school kids who've won championships from being in it. One of the most famous people that used this type of technology was Bruce Lee. He used to sit in his chair with these electrodes all over him and do his paperwork, and he'd be like, "I'm doing 400 push-ups right now." And another person who used the suit pretty extensively was Hussein Bolt. There's pictures of him with that same exact suit that you had on, where he's used that suit to get muscle gains and things like that as a part of his workout. So it's pretty, I think there's a couple other famous people that use it in LA that you'll see them on the Instagram and things like that. Like I think Seal, I've seen him in the suit. There's some people in the LA area that have the same suit I have, and they usually do a more personal training style where they go to the house or they go to the gym with the person and work them out. And there's one guy who has a lot of famous people that he puts in the suit I've seen.
And we have to be really careful with it, because if we do it too much or overstimulate, what are some of the side effects?
So
why should we come to a doctor for this?
Well, for me, being medically supervised, I can watch for any help you with any injuries or adjust the suit for injuries. Like there's ways to do this workout even sitting in the chair. You don't have to use
there's intensities.
There's treatment protocols that I can put on the suit. Like if you're having a lot of back pain, we can adjust the workout to where it helps strengthen the back more and helps with back pain. In fact, it has an indication for back pain built into the suit where you see 30% decrease in back pain.
Wow, that alone is a sell.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's one of the medical indications for it. There's a ton of medical indications for it that we can pull out, but it's unlimited. Like the machine, what it does and what it can do. The stuff that I'm doing is kind of just scratching the surface. It's just more like an introduction. I haven't really pushed it and kind of set up treatments for other type of people. Even like a paralyzed person, right? I had a paralyzed guy that I used to work out on the suit. He was paralyzed from the waist down. He wanted more strength in his abdomen, but he can't really do sit-ups, right? So we would strap him in the suit, and then that would help him be able to kind of get in and out of the chair. So and then it strengthens the legs too, because you don't have to control it with your brain. It does it for you.
That is so cool. And so, I know you're doing it with a lot of athletes, but then I've heard this is also for normal, everyday people, even old people.
Right, exactly. Old people can get in it, young people who aren't very athletic, professionals who don't have a lot of time to go do a 2-hour workout once a week, such as myself. But those were the kind of people that I had in mind, especially like the professionals who, you got a busy week, you got a busy life, but you don't have enough time to get a full, extensive workout like you would like to get.
It's a little bit like cheating.
It's a little bit of a cheat.
Well, I mean, that's what we need. So
yeah,
it's a natural cheat. Like I said, this isn't like a drug or anything. This is something that's
exactly.
natural.
Yeah.
And then you said something to me that you can only do like a couple times a week, or it can be kind of dangerous for your liver. Or explain that part.
So the those kind of workouts, since they're so intense, they can create muscle breakdown.
Okay.
And muscle breakdown causes something called rhabdomyolysis, where the muscles break down and it clogs the kidney with protein.
Okay.
And then the kidney shuts down. So the idea with the recovery and the actual workout is to not overdo it, to not put the body in so much of a intense kind of muscular, because you have to damage the muscle a little bit for it to grow, right?
Right.
So when you over damage it and you overwork out, then you create those muscle breakdowns that can affect the kidneys and put you into rhabdo, which is dangerous for your life.
Well, that's why it's very important to be with a doctor. I'd imagine, like when you said people could do this on their own or with training, I'd be like,
yeah. You see that all the time. I get cases, especially in the urgent care, where people come in and they're like peeing blood and they're like, oh, I worked out. I'm trying to run a marathon and I think I overdid it, and things like that. And those are the common things that happens if you overuse a suit. Because essentially, if you look at the amount of muscle mass and the amount of work that the body has to do to work the suit, it's almost as if you just ran a marathon. Every time you get in it. So it's really intense on the body.
It was intense. That's why I love it. That's why I told everyone about it. They're kind of like, I think it's hard for me to kind of even.
You can't really explain it, right?
Because it's very unexplainable. I had no idea what it was until I got there.
Exactly. And I always tell people, I try to explain it over and over, and they're like, what is it? What is it? And then once they get in it, it's like, whoa. This is it feels good.
I was told it was like all boxing, actually, like before I got, like I said, then I'm coming there and then I'm like, I said, I have my boxing gloves, so I need wraps. And he's like, no, you're like, don't need that. I said, so we're doing like, shadow boxing. He's like, yeah. And that's how I was described.
Yeah, they kind of roped you in. They didn't really give you the full. Well, I
was going to do it regardless. I love it. I love what it is. It's just funny that it's really hard to explain.
It's very hard to explain, and that's why if you look at how I have it set up, when most people ask me about it, I usually give them the quick rundown and then go, "Let's get you in it. I want you to feel what the suit does,
right?
Because that's essentially until you feel it and you can feel what it does to the body." It's really unexplainable. Yeah.
So if people want to come get sessions, where do people go? How can we follow you? How can we see? And who do we call if we want to make an appointment?
So the phone number is 559-813-3005.
That's your office. And
that's my office. I haven't put it on the internet anywhere. It's kind of more of a word of mouth thing. I haven't really advertised it, so you can't really go into my site and see anything about it other than some Instagram stuff.
And then you're open 7 days a week?
Yeah, that's because it's kind of comparable to the urgent care. So the urgent care is usually open, because the urgent care is always open and I'm always there.
Then people can make an appointment.
We keep the Green Sports Medicine open as well.
And then I heard you're really good with working with insurances. So if somebody thinks that this might be intense or pricey, the best thing to do is just to come to your office and see if you could work with them.
Exactly. There's some medical indications for the suit that we can place if we can pull something out or we can see something that we can help you strengthen or work with you.
If you have a really bad back, there's a very good possibility.
Exactly. So I usually say, let's see what we can come up with the insurance. And in terms of, I'll have the physical therapist work with you, see what your weaknesses are and see how we can set up a treatment regimen that'll help you be able to use the suit basically for free. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so tell us a little bit about like the sports medicine side and how you hope to see it grow.
Sports medicine is it's kind of my baby. So I want to, we do stem cell injections. I do a lot of those. We do these combination treatments with the physical therapist where we work together. So I'll do an evaluation with you with the physical therapist to figure out how to make you get better at your injury if you have a sports. I guess sports medicine also is a misnomer. It's more like orthopedics. So anything orthopedic realm, I can do up to surgery. I don't do any surgeries. So any problem you have that's orthopedic related, I'm also a family medicine doctor, so we do some regular medicine too. Anything like that, we will do. And it's the idea is just to grow with the community wherever I'm needed, however I need them in terms of helping the community. I'll help.
How do you feel about having something that's so innovative and you having kind of the exclusive key to it right now in town?
I feel great. I just need to get it out there. It's the biggest thing is making sure people know about it. So that's why I need people like you to help me.
Well, I'm definitely a big advocate for it. I mean, I think it's so cool. I love new challenges. I love things that challenge people. I love that it's for everybody.
Yeah, it's for everyone. You know, I've had even 14-year-old kids use it all the way up to, 80-year-old. So
it's probably really good to start young to really get those muscles, because even if you just start for a little bit and your muscles kind of are starting to learn what to do.
Exactly.
So if you don't do it for like years later, if you're starting at like 14, 18.
I always recommend it for the younger generation of kids that are doing like triple sports, right? So they don't let the muscles rest.
Yeah,
they're doing one sport to that. Yeah, yep. And they're more injury prone. So a lot of times, if you can keep the muscles in tip top shape, they're less prone to getting injuries because they do so many sports.
I love that. We're going to follow you everywhere. So I think it's Dr. Green Medicine on Facebook and Instagram.
It's at Green Sports Med.
At Green Sports Medicine.
Yeah. On Instagram, Facebook. The website is greensmc.com. The best thing to do is call. We can set you up with a demo. I let everyone try out the cryo and the suit.
That is really generous.
At least once, just so you can, because it's so hard to explain, I let the suit do the explaining.
That's really smart. Thank you so much for coming on my show,
Dr. Green. No problem.
To the weekend warriors, to those who reach for their goals, the road to greatness sometimes has its bumps that can take you out of the game. Get back in the game with Green Sports Medicine. From IV therapy to joint injections to cryotherapy, make it to the end zone and get back in the game with Green Sports Medicine.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today, Rene.
Well, thank you for the invitation.
Okay, so tell the viewers a little bit about you and what you're running for.
Well, my name is Rene Nunez. I'm running for State Assembly in the new 33rd District.
Why is it new?
Because the whole districting that happened back in December 20th was the last final maps for the Assemblies districts. Every 10 years, they have to change it.
They have to, okay.
Yeah, so with the new population growth and everything like that.
Right.
The census. Every 10 years they do the census. So after every census, they have to do the whole redistricting. And it's not the state. It's also the local cities, counties, the school boards, city councils, supervisors, and all that stuff.
So what does the new 33 consist of?
So the new, it's all Kings County. It's half of Tulare County and Reedy and Kingsburg from Fresno County.
Right on.
So it's 3 counties put together.
That's a lot. Wow, that's
Yeah.
a vast area.
It is. It's a good drive. There's other districts out there that are really, really big.
Wow.
There's one that goes from the Oregon border down to, I think it was Lake Tahoe or Oakers, but I can't remember exactly. It's not my district, so I wasn't really paying too much attention, but that's a far drive.
So tell us why you decided to run.
Well, the past 2 years, I run a small business. It's a Mexican restaurant, and we've been hindered very, very bad. So I'm assuming if we're hindered very bad, I'm going to assume there's a lot of more individuals too.
How long has your restaurant been around?
We've been there for 28 years.
I love that. Okay.
December 24th, 1993. And then 7 years ago, I took over. But just the mandates, I feel like we don't have a voice. A small business don't have a voice out there. So I decided, being part of a big part of the community, I decided I kept hearing like, hey, well, all these complaints, all these arguments, like what are we going to do? And I'm like, all right, so we're all complaining, we're all arguing, but what are we really doing? So that's why I decided, just like, you know what? Maybe I should go run for politics, maybe poke the bear a little bit and kind of change the optics of what really is necessary and do it for the little people.
So being you don't have a political background, what made you think, wow, I'm going to dive into this and people don't know me from that? I mean,
Yeah.
I'm really proud that you were a Marine. You are a Marine. You're still.
Yeah.
So that's really amazing. So what made you decide to run?
So back in 2012, I went to Africa. We're part of the first teams that we did out there. I came back and I was really intrigued, like, how do we plan to get to that point, right?
Right.
So I did an internship with Congressman Rene Nunez in 2013, helped him, he did his campaign and stuff. Then I realized, like, you know what, maybe that's not for me. Maybe
Did you like him? What do you think about him?
I did like him. I did like his stuff. Like every individual, they have great topics or some stuff that they go too overboard, but was the idea. And it all comes down, that's why I like to study psychology, because it comes down to the person's background or what they've learned and what they've grown around with. But he's an overall a very great guy. I got to meet him once, or actually twice. I did get to take a picture with him. It was really nerve-wracking. I was only 24 and like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm here at just an internship.
Wow.
So it was really interesting, and seeing the political background and how everything works was really, really intriguing. But I was like, maybe this is not for me. Maybe I was going to be a high patrol, but then something happened with my family. Somehow I took over the restaurant.
So what was the shift? I'm never going to be in politics, so now I'm running for assembly.
And well, that's just everybody talking about taxes, the raise the taxes. For us businesses, we had to shut down our restaurant. All this businesses had to shut down. I'm like, okay, so how are we going to survive? How am I going to pay employees? And still to this day, I'm like, how am I going to pay my employees? How am I going to, pay rent, utilities, and stuff like that? How is anybody survive? And in 2020, I was reading somewhere, I get the NRA, which is National Restaurant Association magazine, and 1/3 of the restaurants in California closed. I'm not sure exactly how many opened, but 1/3 closed.
Wow.
Like they're completely not going to open up ever again. I'm like, we have to stop it somehow. And it was a 2-week, to break the trend, but now we're here 2 years later, and we're still suffering. And now with inflation, everybody says 7% inflation. I'm like, I don't think that's 7%, because everything doubled price for me, from buying to-go stuff, from buying meat, poultry.
Meat got really crazy.
Gas went up really high. So I'm like, when I see 7%, I'm like, 7% from where?
Exactly.
I'm like,
what do you see? What differences can you make?
I feel, well, I'm running as a Republican, and they're a small minority in the assembly, in the legislature, in the state legislature. But my difference would be coming at them, being louder. And they don't want to work together in the assembly, do what's right for the community, work with the community, and have them, voice their concerns against them. Be louder than those people in Sacramento. Instead of being in Sacramento, work the community, that the people that vote for these politicians pay their salary, ensure they have a job.
But how can you do that? So what strategies have you figured out that what strategies have you used at the restaurant to keep it surviving and thriving after at this time? What are some of the things you're going to bring to the table with that?
So the biggest thing is community outreach.
Okay.
I love working with the community. I like supporting the community as much as possible. That's one thing. Radio, TVs.
So be like, champion for small businesses, so that people at least know they're out there and that they're suffering.
Yeah.
To be like, hey, come to the restaurant.
Yeah.
We need you.
Yeah. Well, if they can see, they want to help people that they know. They see their face. They want to, or there's somebody they could correlate or engage with. Not somebody's like, oh, hey, I don't know who the boss is, but I'm gonna come here and eat.
Right.
So it's great to see people that are happy to see me working in the kitchen or working as a waiter. Even right now, because there's not many workers, so I have to work too. But it's I love knocking on people's doors because I like to see their faces like, hey, you know, what's going on? I want to hear your guys' issues. As he's saying, we have 2 years so we can listen a lot more, but we have one mouth to, you know, voice our opinion. So I'm going to use that.
Who are you running against?
So for right now, I'm running against Devin Mathis, who's another Republican as well. But
what is he been in politics for a while?
He's been in politics. He's been in office for 7 years.
Okay. Yeah, I thought he was newer. And so how do you feel taking this on? And this is really cool that you're doing that. And you're kind of younger. How do you feel like, what are some of the strategies you're going to use to conquer this? So
I've been knocking on doors, going from Tulare, you know, Kenneman City, Avenal, hitting every single community as much as possible. Try to do meet and greets, try to do some runs because I want people to be healthy. Nobody really talks about, you know, we talk about COVID and take a shot, but nobody talks about, hey, take your vitamin D, vitamin C, B12s, you know, get out there, get some water, get some, you know, exercise. Nobody really talks about that stuff. Build your immune system from the inside out. But those are stuff I'm planning on doing. I'm going into as many meetings as I can, knocking on the doors. Like I said, I'd rather meet the people than just assume that I know everything. I don't know nothing. I go into this, I don't know nothing, so I'm going to go to every single, you know, industry and figure it out. So I do ride-alongs with law enforcement because I want to see what they're doing. I introduce myself to the city council because I want to, hey, you're the city council, this is your city. I want to see how we could help each other down the road to better the community. Well, law enforcement is more like, hey, what do you guys, what's the necessity? How do they handle, you know, individuals when they come across them, and how they're working, and how the state has actually been controlling them a lot more and not being able to do their job. Law enforcement, I was talking to some individuals who in 2010, 2012, they couldn't find a job. It was hard. Everybody wanted to be a cop, right?
Yeah,
everybody wanted to be a cop. Now it's like, well, we can't find anybody to work. It's a miracle if you get 4 new officers.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, or people just keep quitting. And then just all these regulations, these mandates, you know, Prop 47, and I think it's Prop 58 as well, and then AB 109, all those state laws that control law enforcement or does not help them out.
Because they can't do their job accordingly in the way they want to do it.
Yeah, so especially with the $0 bail, I mean, they arrest one guy because he stole a car. Before they've done the report, they have to arrest him again because he found a car because he needs to get a ride home. So I had to throw him back in jail, and then he was back out the next minute. Before they could even finish the police report, they're out in the street again. So it's insane. Yeah, it's insane.
So what are the biggest problems you think your district faces? So that's one of them.
Yes.
So small businesses, we got some problems with law enforcement. What are some else that really are about District 33?
Water. Big water issue and education. So water to begin with, I was just in Kenneman City a couple weeks ago, knocking on doors, and they're talking about like, it's like, someone didn't know they were running out of water. They just like, I don't know, they're just charging me more on water. That's for sure. Like their utilities went up insanely. Okay. So they're running out of water. They didn't even know about it, but they just knew they were paying more. Especially some of them that I talked to is like, I don't know what I'm going to eat tomorrow. We're working more, and it's a farm, you know, community, and without water, they're not going to be able to produce. And as it is, the state passed a law, like I think it was 2015, and for the past 5 years, so overtime wasn't until 60 hours and over in the fields. And now it's 40 hours an hour. So the farmers, I can't pay the overtime now. It's too much money. You know, the insurance, workers' comp, all that good stuff that comes with payroll, right? And that's the biggest part. Like, hey, everything goes up, our wages went up, but it doesn't add up to what we're paying. So there's a lot of issues that I want to work with that and see how we can diminish a lot of them.
What are we going to do about water?
Water, to my understanding, the biggest thing is we got the Delta smelt, right? And then there's other concerns talking about the water that goes into the ocean that keeps the ocean water out. But I heard somewhere out there, there's a technology that we could build to prevent the ocean water from going up into the water stream and keeping it clean water. So we could reroute that water coming into the valley. So we could recharge our aquifers, we could recharge or refill our dams, our reservoirs, our rivers. And even the underground water, we're running out of underground water. There was talking to some individuals that they're digging deep in their wells. And that costs a lot of money. And so they're picking and choosing their fights and how to get the water. But that's one of the things I want to look into is like, how do we get the water from leaving the state into the ocean to coming back into the Central Valley? If that's the cause, the cause of Delta smelt, or because of the ocean water trying to come into the river, and there's people saying out there that there's actually some kind of technology that could prevent that from happening, and that way we could bring more water into our valley. Let's make it happen. Instead of spending $100 billion on a high-speed rail, which is who knows when it's going to finish. When it was supposed to be finished years ago and cost $70 billion less, we should have built reservoirs. We should have built that technology to keep the water.
So kind of redirect the money. I know as a conservative, it's like, you know, when you say we have to do all this technology, everyone's thinking, oh, money, money, money. But you're like, no, it will take a lot of money. We just need to redirect where the money's going and put it in there.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so the state makes great money. Obviously, we had a $33 billion surplus last year, and I don't even know how. I'm wondering where's our help? So, especially for the Central Valley, and a lot of people talk about, they're really worried about how are they going to eat next. And everything's just going up too much. And so they have to pick and choose their own fight. They either have to work a lot and then just go buy McDonald's, which makes something unhealthy, not saying bad things about McDonald's, I eat McDonald's, but but it's one of those things like they have to pick and choose. And we shouldn't be having to do that in our society.
So going back to education, what are some of the problems that you see and what are some of the changes you hope to make in the education system in District 33?
Keep the accountability on the school districts. So a lot of these school districts, from my understanding, is that they're letting individuals graduate with low reading levels, math, and writing. And that should be the core focus. Another thing, I was fortunate enough to go to Valley ROP right there in Reedy College and Reedy High School. And these are technical skills. These are, some classes are college credits as well. So any student that's out there listening, I mean, those are some school, because they're trade skills. You don't have to go to college in order to do it. But these are like from medical, from business, from cooking, from aeronautics. So you could legitimately get your license, your pilot's license at Reedy College, which is a great program.
That's great.
Yeah, I got to see their little virtual where they fly planes.
That's
simulator.
So cool. Yes.
Flight simulators. But those are some of the things I would actually like to bring out, more technical skills, because we're focused too much on other things. We gotta be neutral on history. We can never forget about history. We gotta teach history, but it's being neutral about it. It's being neutral about everything else. But reading, writing, and arithmetic is very key, important. We gotta keep these schools accountable for it. I don't want my kids growing up not to be able to read, not to be able to write, or not be able to do math, or even simple math. But I also want them to learn the skills. So hopefully when they go into high school, they'll start being able to go take these classes from, I don't know if they like to take pictures, or they like to do photography, they like to do video games, they like to cook. They could take all these possibilities, even mechanics, working on cars. And these schools actually work together for different companies that actually help them get a job too. So you would work kind of with the school board on these issues if you're elected. Exactly. That's one goal. And work with every single one, from school board to the city, to kind of unite people to work together and benefit the community instead of trying to separate us. I'm kind of tired of all these separations, or I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to talk to you. Instead of trying to figure out, hey, how could we work together? We might not have the same ideas. We might not, we may think differently, but how could we work together to better the community and affect change in the future? We're not going to be able to do it overnight, but I'm hoping 5-10 years we can start seeing that difference. I want to start the conversation. I want to be that spark. I want to be that beacon of hope that we could actually look upon, and hopefully it infuriates everybody else, and they go into politics, like we're talking earlier, going to school boards, going to the city councils, even to the water boards as well, and doing that change that we really need. But people are scared. People are scared. Yeah, it's scary. I'm not gonna lie. It's like, man, like these guys are ruthless. But I'm more like, oh well. I've been in worse, so this is actually just a walk in the park.
So where can we go to support you, endorse you, and figure out when you're speaking again?
Yeah, go on to, I have a website. It's nunezforassembly.com, Instagram, Facebook. We're working on Twitter. I'm working with somebody to run my social media stuff.
I know you're busy running around. Yeah. You need somebody to help you
I'm not good at it. I've never been a big fan of social media. I'll take a picture, like, all right, that looks great. I don't know how to caption it. But there's people out there that know how to do that really, really well.
Right. No, so we're going to follow you and see what kind of speaking engagements do you have set up anytime soon that you can talk about, that we could see you at or ask questions. So like if any viewers want to come and be where you're at, where are some things we could see you at? So one of the biggest things, I'll be in Wood Lake tomorrow, the Women's Federation of Wood Lake. I'm going to be out there speaking. I'm going to be at an event in Visalia this Saturday for their Visalia Republican Women. They're doing a whole
kind of training, I guess you could say. And then I'll definitely be out there on March, I want to say 9th or 8th. The Visalia Republican Women Federation and the Tulare County GOP, they're going to have this panel out there
Okay.
for the new the special election, the congressional special election. The 4 individuals are running.
Oh, that
for
sounds like a fun.
So we'll definitely be out there, and they're going to let me put signs and all that good stuff.
So is that open to the public? Anybody can go?
I think you have to RSVP.
Okay.
So just Google Tulare County.
And this weekend you said what in Visalia?
It's like a training event through the Women's Republican Party.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what else was I gonna? I'm doing that run for Support the Blue Run. So hopefully people could go out there. So I'll be doing the 3 miles. I might not run as fast as before, but I'll finish. I'll finish it for sure. But I'll be out there supporting the Blue Run. That's one thing that I want to try to do, especially nowadays that we need to support our local law enforcement officers.
You don't feel like they're getting the support they need, right?
Yeah, I feel like they've been a little left out, and kind of find that bridge between law enforcement and the community. So I'm hoping we could.
That's important now. Yeah.
We could work something else, because a lot of people don't realize that, we could sit back and judge what's going on, but sometimes you don't know what happens in a split second. And so, it's either pull the trigger or don't pull the trigger. It's always going to be in your back of your head. It's either, and you don't know what's going to happen. So I do recommend people, if they're curious, that they've told me too, the law enforcement, like, hey, people want to come out. We would love to take people on ride-alongs. Just contact your local law enforcement office and just request a ride-along, and they'll let you do it. So, I mean, that's a great way to see what's going on in the streets.
Right, you're actually going along.
Yeah.
And then if we want to support your restaurant, you said you're on Reed and Buttonwillow.
Reed and Buttonwillow.
But we're the same artists.
Same art, yes. In the same, we're between, the weird thing is we're between the liquor store and the Verizon store. So it's called El Rincón Americano.
And then what are the hours typically?
So right now it's the 11 to 8 pretty much every day. Except for Wednesdays we're 11 to 4, because again, and it's going to change a couple of times because we have some big events coming up. So the 26th we're going to be closed on Saturday because there's MMA fights in Hanford. So we're going to be selling our food out there.
Oh, nice.
So you can Google VFS fights in Hanford and we'll pop up, and we're going to be there selling food.
I love Mexican food, so I'm going to come out. I'm really excited about it. I'm pretty sure I've eaten there before, but now that I can put a face to it, I want to go out there and eat there again.
And it sucks working at a Mexican restaurant, especially when the food's so good. And so it makes I have to run a lot more. I only work out to be able to eat more. That's for sure.
That's a good point. Thank you so much for coming on my show, Rene.
Thank you very much for having me here. I hope I can come back again soon.
For sure. When you win.
Yeah, that's true.
Come back.
I will. I'll definitely invite me too. Don't forget about me.
I will forget about you.
That's for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Hey, Lamont, thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me.
I've been wanting on for a long time because you have so many different things going on. You got a gym, you got a nonprofit. Tell us about those things.
So I have a gym called Playground Training Academy, and we cater to like adults and kids, and we teach them like parkour, ninja warrior, calisthenics. We do boot camps. We do all like cool, crazy, fun stuff. Actually just teaching people how to move their bodies and go through obstacle courses. And then also my nonprofit, we cater to having kids that couldn't afford it, from the foster care system, at-risk kids, to be able to come out, to be able to experience the playground. Because it definitely is an experience from my coaches out there to, everything that we do out there.
That's so cool. How long have you been doing that, the playground?
I've had my business for over 11 years now.
That's amazing. And then you've moved different locations. Where are you located now?
So I'm located right now off of Clovis Avenue in Gettysburg. We're over in the Clovis Business Park right now. I was on sunny side of Menlo, right across the street from Bicentennial Park.
And so everything's predominantly indoors or outdoors and indoors?
Everything is predominantly indoors. Now, we do have outdoor stuff that we take to schools and community events that invites us out. So we do have a portable outdoor units that we actually travel and we go do, like we do after school programs at school. So.
And you have a pretty interesting story of like how you grew up and how you were raised, and that kind of led to you helping children. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I grew up as an orphan. My father tried to kill me when I was about like 5 years old. And, just to make a long story short, I went through the foster care system. I got beat, abused, every kind of abuse you can think of, from mental to physical to sexual.
I got put into several different placements, group homes, foster homes, and then I ended up getting out of the system. I phased out at 18. My government just let me go. They didn't even like continue helping me. They just let me go at 18. Ended up getting in some trouble, landed myself behind some bars. And then after I came out of that, I was like, I don't want to do that no more. And then that's when I met a mentor. And then this guy mentored me and like really like changed my life.
Wow. So that's very powerful to be a mentor. Is that why you pretty much a mentor now?
You know, I believe in the iron sharpens iron. So does another man sharpens another man. And it was another man that believed in me. And he told me, you know, even when I didn't believe in myself, he said, Lamont, you know, God does not create junk. He made you with a purpose. He gave you a purpose, Lamont, and I'm going to help you find that purpose. And he helped me find that purpose. Now, my purpose now is to help my coaches and the youth and bring these families together and help them find their purpose.
How many coaches do you have at the playground?
I have about maybe about 9 or 10 coaches. I have females and males.
That's a lot of coaches.
Yeah. There's a lot of coaches.
And they have some great accolades. What were you saying? Some of them are on the Ninja Warrior.
Yeah, so my head coach for the Ninja Warrior, he was on the season for 3 seasons on American Ninja Warrior. And then we have my head parkour coach. He's been on like Ultimate Tag Show and like World Chase Tag. And then my calisthenic guys, they competed in calisthenics like all over the world. So
that is so impressive. Wow. And so what's your next thing? You were telling me some cool stuff that you want to do for your nonprofit, that you're hoping that maybe someone could sponsor a kid to go to the gym.
Yeah, so we have, right now I'm underneath City Rider Orphans, and you can actually go on there and you can search and look for Overcomers Program, and we'll come up, and there's different sponsor packages that you can sponsor. We put on camps for these kids, you know, and as you guys know, these things cost money. So we put on camps, and then we have where you can actually sponsor a kid or a family to be able to come to the playground and experience that, especially either low-income family or some kids in the foster care system or some at-risk youth. And so I want to be able to give back. When I first started, I was training at a church outdoors, and my goal has never been to I wanted to create a place like the YMCA. Like the YMCA for me when I was younger, it helped me. And so I wanted to create a place for youth and families where families can come and it's going to help them. So my goal now is to be able to reach the whole family, not just the kids. I want to be able to reach moms and dads too.
What do you see as being like a big problem? Just, you know, we're electronics now. We're not being as active. Parents are, you know, just busy. So they're buying whatever, they're eating a bunch of junk. What do you see as do you see it's just going down the spiral as a whole?
I do. However, you know, I'm not about the problem. I'm about the solution to the problem. So me, I'm like, okay, how can I combat the video games? I'm a gamer. I love to play games.
Oh, really? Okay.
So in my gym, we actually have a game room. And so what we do is we let the kids play games, and we'll play games against them too. If they lose, they got to do push-ups.
That's cool.
Or they got to do pull-ups. Or in between, while they're waiting for the game to load up, there's an exercise they got to do. And then there's other games out there where you can touch that helps with the hand-eye coordination. So it's about being able to see the need and then making a solution to the need. My brain thinks I'm ADD to the max. I'm creative. I'm creating stuff in the future to come. So my goal is okay, I see these kids always on these tablets. Okay, you know what? I see these kids making a lot of YouTube videos. Let me put a YouTube video class in my gym. And then they can go work out and come back and work on their YouTube videos. They can actually film in my gym too. Let me do that.
That's really cool.
So, yeah. So I want to create that fitness center where the whole family, mom has something to do, dad has something to do, and the kids have something to do.
What are some of the changes that you've seen, some personal success stories you could tell us about?
You know, man, I mean, we get emails on a weekly about families letting us know, I want to thank you, man. During this pandemic, my kid was talking about suicide, want to kill themselves. And when they got into the playground, it's they can't wait. They beg us to bring them back. and they want to keep learning from the coaches, and they want to be like the coaches. And when these parents come up and they thank me for saving their kid's life, to me, that's as stressful as business is. That's what makes it all worth it for me, And most of the people in my gym, they don't even know I'm the owner because I don't go in there like, oh yeah, I'm the owner. I'm just posing through there. They're probably like, oh, he look like a coach or a personal trainer, and that's how it should be, and that's how I want it to be.
That's really incredible. And you've had some personal struggles lately that you said you were willing to share. Tell us a little bit about that, because it kind of ties into your background of not knowing your family medical history.
Yeah, so, growing up in the system, you don't really know who your family is, and you don't know your medical history. So recently I've been diagnosed with advanced prostate cancer. It came on very quickly, and I could tell you when it came on, I went into the doctors and it was like, Lamont, I'm sorry, we got some bad news. Unfortunately, you have cancer. And, we're going to try to do everything we can to stop it so it doesn't spread. And I could tell you this, just going through this life change right now, it's been crazy. But I look at the story of Job. I'm being tested right now, and this is just going to be a part of my testimony that I can help somebody. Look, not only has God brought me out of this, but he brought me out of this too, and I'm still here, and I'm still doing. So if the doctor says, Lamont, you got 10 years, okay. If he says you got 1 year, okay, I'm going to live out the best of my years, putting in place something that's going to bless this community and surrounding communities in the Central Valley far after I'm dead and gone.
That would be really great. So what are some advice that you would give to people in this situation? You were saying about getting blood work done.
Yeah.
That maybe you could have spotted a little sooner.
So definitely for guys within their 30s to 35s, I would suggest you guys go get your PSA numbers checked out. So get your prostate, not just the digital, but also your PSA, and pay attention to that number. A healthy PSA is 2.5. As you get older, as men, it starts to go up anyway. But if it's in the fours, like mine was, then you need to start doing preventative stuff right now. You need to start changing up your diet. You need to take out sugar. You need to start eating foods that help fight cancer. You need to lower your stress. And then you need to keep an eye on that number. So every year, or maybe even every 6 months, you need to look at that number again to make sure that it's just a slow progress and it's not rampant. Because the earlier you can catch it, the earlier they can help you.
And I think it's very, unnerving for people watching because they see you're so fit. You're so physically, obviously fit. But you said it also could be hereditary problems that brought this upon you. So what do you do in situations like that? Did you just not get tested every year? Is that kind of what happened?
So normally, they don't even test you till you're a certain age. Right. So they like to test you when you're roughly about 40. So when I went in there, they just did the finger exam, but they didn't do no blood work until I said something about my urine being low pressure. And then she was like, okay, let's get some blood work done. And then that's when they found it. So it's most time they just do the digital and have you cough and stuff like that. But that's not, no, you need to get the blood work done.
And will they just give it to you if you ask, or do you have to have a problem? Can you say, I want my blood work done?
This is what I'm saying. Whether they frown upon it or not, you have the right to ask them to do that. So you need to say, and don't let them tell you that, oh, no, don't get it done so often. No. This is your life. Right. This is your health. You need to be proactive about this. So
because nobody cares about your life like
exactly.
you do.
Like me, I play Russian roulette. I don't know what I'm going to get, but if you know this stuff runs in your family history too, especially, yeah, you need to be on that. You need to be on that. If cancer runs in male or female, if it runs in your family, you need to be doing stuff now. So.
And you're still at the gym every day working out hard. You're still running a business. How is that with all of the added stress?
They gave me a shot that cut out my testosterone. And they asked me if I wanted to have any more kids. I said, I would like to have a kid that I can raise, and he told me, well, I felt like I was going through the movies. He was like, well, they got a cryo bank over there where they can freeze your swimmers. I was like, okay, well, let's go get these swimmers frozen. So, I'm gonna keep fighting. They gave me that shot. The first day I was like, oh, I'm good. The next day I was tired for no reason. I didn't even do nothing. I was just tired because it's for guys, it's if a woman goes through menopause, That's what I'm feeling like. I'm going through menopause right now as a guy. That's what
taking your testosterone
they
away.
take testosterone and every other thing. So it throws all your hormones are balanced. So, but I've been taking vitamin B12, eating and getting enough sleep. So you got to educate yourself and know how to combat that. And if you don't, I'm going to help you educate yourself so that you know how to fight this. I'm not going to take this lying down. I'm going to fight because I got a whole community expecting me to keep my gym open and open up other ones. I got coaches that's expecting me they're having a place to come. I got kids that lifestyle I got to save. I cannot just throw in the towel right now and just be like, poor me,
Exactly.
I just got this. No, it's not that time now. I got to fight.
Well, what can we do to help you fight and help everything you have going on? Because you have some great ideas that you want to get, which you could roughly kind of scratch on the surface about getting some charter schools. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I want to put, I'm working on trying to put a little charter school inside of my gym right now. And as I get into a bigger facility, I'm going to expand on that more where, we have about 16 kids roughly. They come out, they warm up together, then they do rush and bow, and then they pick on who goes into the classroom first. They'll have a credentialed teacher in there helping them do their schoolwork. And then at 45 minutes, they'll switch, and then they'll have a little break, and then they'll do that again 2 more times. So for 4 hours, especially for a parent that, some of these parents that's having these homeschool kids, they don't even know how to do the homework with them. So we'll have a credentialed teacher that will be sitting there, and then that's 4 hours. You can go work a part-time job, or you get to just get away, for 4 hours, get some breathing time, get some housework done, get some stuff done. And so let us take care of your kids. Let us educate them with the mental and the physical. And let us, that's what my goal is to do. So how you guys can help is by, definitely donating to the Overcomers program underneath Citywide Orphans. Or even just coming to the gym and are always sending out prayers.
Oh, that sounds really nice. And so what are some of the things when you talk to kids, you seem really open and honest about everything. When they ask you about stuff, what do you tell them about your struggles and how you can kind of overcome anything?
So I tell them like, look, this is what I've been through. And I tell them my story and they're like, whoa, because I actually go to churches and I speak and I'm like, wow. So there's actually a video out there underneath my name, Lamont Nash. And so I play that video first. It's my testimony. And then I come out there and I speak. And then afterwards, I leave it open for some questions and answers. So if, people want me to come out to their school or they want to bring their kids to me, I will talk to them and I will give them the best advice like my mentor gave me. And I would always tell the parents, like, sometimes you may not be able to do it. The kids need some outside sources. So having them have a good mentor, and not just any mentor, like a good spiritually mentor. Like, I'm not perfect, but I know my purpose. And my purpose is to do what another person done to me. Another man sharpened me. So now my goal is to sharpen all these kids now, so they tell them like, look, if I've been through this and I can overcome this, you can too. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy, but you can do it, you just got to make that choice. But I always tell people, like, I tell men especially, you make a choice, you live by it, you stand by it, so if you made a bad choice, okay, learn from it, move on, okay, it's not the end of the world, so.
Well said. And we can't wait. We're going to send the cameras in to look a little bit at the playground, to go through the obstacle course, which I'm very scared about. Because I really want to see what you guys have going on there. For viewers, if they want to go and check it out, when's a good time to check it out? What are your hours typically?
So we're open, obviously I'm teaching boot camps at 5 a.m. in the morning. But actually, if you just go to our website and check on there and just say, hey, I want to come out and visit, or if you just want to stop in and just take a look, we're open from 5 in the morning until 10 at night. So you guys can just drop in, just take a look at the place. And if you're interested in either yourself coming or your kid coming, you guys can go in there and email us, and my staff will take care of you to get you in, get you signed up, and yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I can't wait. Well, I don't know. I'm very anxious about this obstacle course, but I will do it because I said I will do it. Everyone's watching. I will do it. We're going to come do it. We're going to film it and see some great things. Nice. Can't wait to keep up with you and see what you're doing because you're doing so much for the community. Thank you, Lamont.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here. Oh, I must confess, dear. Don't think I'm in love with you.
It's a mystery.